The last men left standing will stake their territory and make their mark in history. Welcome, everybody, to the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. The Big 12 Championship game. Kansas, the number 2 seed in the tournament, on top by 3 right now with 16:30 left to play in this opening half. The man with a hot hand early on for the Kansas Jayhawks is Rush, who canned his first 2 3-pointers. He's got 6.
Ron, it took Rick Barnes 3 minutes to go to that 2-3 zone, but Kansas has scored 3 straight times.
Right, driving the middle and scoring. Tucker all the way to the hoop, had the shot blocked. I think Kahn got a hand on it. Robinson at the other end. Here's Chalmers for 3. That's an air ball.
Instead of the 2-on-1, Chalmers turned it into a jump shot play. Probably not a good decision. This young Kansas team is certainly not intimidated.
.30 left to play. A couple of times that Kansas has come out to trap. Paulino off the mark. Aldridge on the follow, and he'll score.
That's where he's at his best. He is not as good as a go-to guy, but he will clean up missed shots.
Kahn inside, working against Aldridge. Lost the handle on that one. Mike Williams came away with it.
Well, that's what you have to do. You must attack Aldridge and get him in foul trouble.
Gibson short and off to the right, knocked out of bounds by Texas, and we'll take a timeout. 14:50 left in this first half. 12-9 KU. So we're scored 12-9 to Kansas. Jayhawks on top. Hello, everybody. Ron Franklin along with Fran Frischella. Holly Rowe will be along very shortly. The last time these two teams met, it was in Austin. It was a 25-point Longhorn victory. I don't think anybody in this arena has any concern about that ball game. They think this one today will go right down to the wire.
Well, you're right, Ron. 2 things happened in that game. Texas dominated Kansas on the backboards, and Brandon Rush went 1 for 8, the leading scorer for KU. Today, he's hit 2 quick threes, and they've neutralized Texas on the backboards.
Another thing that has been very obvious in the early part of this ball game, I think Sasha Khan is as active as I've seen him in some time. Now, they have taken him out momentarily. He's gone to the bench, and a couple of substitutions. Jackson is in the ball game along with C.J. Giles. Robinson for 3. Ball tipped up in the air by Aldridge. Came back down to C.J. Giles. Abrams, who was checked into the ball game, has his pocket picked by Robinson. And if that is a Chalmers, I beg your pardon. If you just joined in us, this is what has happened so far. This exchange right here early in the contest. Inadvertent elbow into the face of Brad Buckman, and he had to go to the bench. Rush with a couple of back-to-back threes. Buckman, as you can see, number 22, is checked back into the lineup. Tucker gets the friendly roll.
Well, there's a size, not necessarily in height, but strength certainly advantage for P.J. Tucker as he took Rush right to the hoop.
Darnell Robinson, and a travel is going to be called. So here are the starting lineups. Rush, Chalmers, and Robinson, the 3 guards for KU. Darnell Jackson, C.J. Giles making up the starting 5. And it's Gibson, Abrams, Tucker, along with Buckman and Aldridge, the 5 on the floor for the Longhorns.
I do love the way Kansas has taken the ball to Texas, but they got to make it pay off some.
A foul away from the ball, and it is going to go against Aldridge, his first. And let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, you talked about that last meeting at Texas. Kansas lost by 25. Some of the players have admitted they were downright scared or intimidated in that game. In fact, one of the coaching staff told me they look like deer in the headlights with this young sophomore and freshman-laden team. But it is a different story today. They felt like this would not be as intimidating of an environment, and you can tell they are already the aggressors in this game against Texas. Deer in the headlights no longer, guys.
No, I don't think so, Holly. And even though the term scared was used, that's hard to believe, particularly when you're talking about guys like Darnell Jackson, who just set a beautiful screen for Rush. Rebounded by Gibson. Abrams.
Well, he picks up where he left off against Kansas. This young man went 4 for 4 from 3 in the first half, and he has given Rick Barnes a huge lift.
Jackson. I'm not sure that pass was for him. I thought it was back to Hawkins, and Darnell just happened to cut in front of the ball.
It wouldn't surprise me if Darnell Jackson gets a little pine time right now after that quick shot. Not his strength.
Giles and Jackson will go back to the bench.
Also checking in, number 24.
And Bill Self is talking to him as I speak.
Well, it's one thing to be the aggressor, but you also must take good shots. Kansas has come out after Texas. You must be proficient in the half court.
Hawkins in the ball game. Julian Wright, number 30, back into the lineup as well. Talk about a long arm reach. Buckman steps out beyond the three. Now bounce passes into Tucker. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Tucker. Gibson.
So what happened there, Ron? Sasha Khan mistimed his jump. He jumped too early. Ball came off. Gibson in the right place.
Texas up 15-12. And a hold is going to be called on Tucker. This is an 8-0 run for the Longhorns as KU has missed their 5 shots in a row, the last that they have taken. We'll be right back. LaMarcus Aldridge on the bench getting a breather. P.J. Tucker, the foul a moment ago, the first one on him. Team fouls so far, Texas 2 and KU with 3.
Texas will go zone as they always do on the inbounds.
Hawkins alley-oop to Khan.
Set play, Ron. They know Texas will trap the inbounds. Once the ball was thrown out, it makes it for a difficult rotation for Tucker to get back into play. Buckman must come over from the weak side and foul. Excellent execution.
You have to think Bill Self taking advantage of actually the youngster in the ball game right now.
Good scouting report offense. They know Texas likes to do that. That's why this is a chess match when you play the team during the season.
Hawkins works against Abram. Great anticipation by Chalmers, but not quite quick enough as he knocks it away.
Well, we talked about this yesterday. You must shorten your passing lanes when you play Kansas because of the quickness of those guards.
Look at the steals, 2, 2, and 2. And that does not also include how many balls there were like that played.
Just like that.
Exactly.
Clock running down.
Tucker back out to Paulino. Shot clock is at 5. Buckman gets it away, had the shot knocked out of bounds, and it will be 1 second on the shot clock.
Most coaches have a play here to be able to catch and shoot it. Usually it's something going to the rim. You can steal a layup here.
Buckman off the mark. Tucker rebounds. Spin move, lost it. Then takes it back up and misses that one. And Abrams gets the long carry. Paulino, a That's a 2.
Well, credit P.J. Tucker doing his best Paul Silas imitation. He sealed the defender inside, knowing the ball would bounce out long.
One signal was 2, the other was 3, so we'll count it as a 3. 18-14 as Tourn is going to be fouled.
Ron, watch P.J. Tucker. The shot's going to go up, and he's going to seal his man inside. That allows him to get the long rebound, and then the kick out. Watch the hustle. Ball fake. Open jumper.
Ashley picked up the foul, his first.
You are right, Ron. You have to like, if you're Bill Self, the way Sasha Khan is at that front.
I mean, he's on fire. I mean, has a fire underneath him compared to the way I have normally seen him play. His tempo is right up there. And you're right, it's one of the things his coaching staff has talked about, that if they could light a fire under this young man, that the upside on him is greater and greater. Holly Rose, we clean up things here right now. Got a second? You got more on that story.
That's right. I talked to Sasha Khan yesterday. I said, it just seems like you're playing so much bigger and more aggressive. He said it's because Coach Bill Self has been after him the last 2 weeks to be a post presence for his team. They said he's got to be that presence because nobody else has been able to do it this year. He's got 6 early points to be one of the leading scorers of his team. I think he's getting Bill Self's message, guys.
I don't think there's any question about that, and he certainly could be an X factor in this ball game, Holly. Tucker. Abrams not there.
Now credit Mario Chalmers for sticking that hand in, even though he wasn't guarding Abrams. Abrams had a double pump.
So Ashley just picked up his second quick foul. Well, this evening, ESPN gives you all you need to know about the NCAA tournament in 3 shows. First, ESPNU Bracketology at 5 o'clock Eastern with Reese, Digger, and Jay. Then at 6 o'clock Eastern, ESPN continues the tournament breakdown on SportsCenter as the brackets are made known. And then at 7 o'clock Eastern, Dick Vitale joined the Bracketology. All of it beginning tonight on ESPN.
Well, by this time, Digger has cut his field down to about 80.
Rush.
Started off hot, but remember, he was 1 for 8 against this team 2 weeks ago.
Aldridge back in the ball game, back to Paulino, and he'll swish this one.
Well, this is a young man who's improved since his freshman year. He averaged 1 point a game as he backed up Royal Ivy and TJ Ford on that Final Four team.
Rush, the bounce pass. Con, little too hard. Williams rebounds, Texas.
LaMarcus Aldridge, Ron, doing a good job of staying on his feet.
Tucker has the ball taken away by Hawkins. Chalmers.
Set up by the steal, the penetration, and then the kick out. Well done by the senior Hawkins.
Both teams 3 of 6, 50% from beyond the arc. Aldridge in tight, misses this one, a tip and a whistle. It is going to go against Texas.
Kansas's job today is to make LaMarcus Aldridge catch it as far away from the paint as possible and make him take that tough hook shot.
Mike Williams with his first foul, and now the Longhorns have to be careful. That is 16 fouls on them with 8:59 to play in this first half.
Texas goes back to the zone. Remember this, they were only 4 for 15, the Jayhawks, versus that zone the first time.
Hawkins way outside.
Well, this guy can heat up. 38% this season. More consistent than ever from behind the arc.
High ball game again, this time at 21, and Hawkins has just picked up the foul.
Throughout his career, Ron, Jeff Hawkins has been a guy that can get it going. He's had 3 games in his career where he's made 5 threes off the bench, so you have to be concerned about him if you're Rick Barnes.
Hawks, a senior. One of the guys that the Jayhawks really look up to.
About 4 for 4. They have so much confidence in this freshman now.
Giles with the jumper. That's a 2.
He made 2 of those jumpers in Austin.
So both teams come out with a pretty good percentage shooting. Sasha Khan leading the way with 7 points for KU.
See that quick double team forced LaMarcus to kick it out quickly.
Last 3 shots for Texas have been trays, and they've hit them all. Tip back in the corner to Paulino. Bill Self just shakes his head as if to say, whoa, sometimes the magic works, sometimes it doesn't. So there's a timeout. 7:21 remaining. First half, Texas by 4.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of Championship Week is brought to you by Conoco and Phillips 66. Next time you're on empty, fill up with Conoco and Phillips 66 quality Pro-Clean gasolines. And in part by 7-Up. If you want 100% natural lemon and lime flavors, the only way to go is up.
So we're back at the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Ron Franklin, Fran Fraschilla, along with Holly Rowe. This, the championship game of the Big 12 Championship Week, presented by 7-Up. You know, we were just talking during the timeout. This is a fun basketball game to watch. Doesn't matter who you're rooting for. This is good basketball, good defense. We're seeing good shooting.
You're right, Ron. I'll tell you, despite the youth. Now, that time they didn't handle the double team well. Came out of the timeout, a good trap off the zone, and Rush with the turnover. But I really believe this. If you look at these two teams, as young as they are, this might be the 2 most talented teams in a championship game this season, maybe outside of Duke and Boston College.
Gibson. That was a travel. I think it was Rush who got a hand in and caused him to not be able to get the next dribble down in time. So put an asterisk by his name as far as a good defensive play and causing a turnover.
Texas now goes to a 1-2-2 zone, something they did not show until yesterday's game against Texas A&M.
Deep in the corner with the 3. Not there. Jackson, Darnell Jackson, coming from nowhere to make the tip. And Curtis Shaw says count the bucket, and Paulino picks up the foul.
If you haven't paid attention to Kansas this year, Darnell Jackson missed the first 8 games because of an NCAA violation where he took some extra benefits. But since he's returned to the lineup, he gives you the type of toughness that has personified Bill Self-coached teams. Pretty good day yesterday.
Hawkins goes to the bench. He'll get a breather. That means that Russell Robinson will check back in. Back to a 1-point ball game. 6 minutes and 40 seconds left until halftime. Paulino strong into the middle. Is he calling offense?
Yep.
Okay. Offensive foul.
And once again, Darnell Jackson hits the ground. And this was all caused because tremendous defensive pressure by the Kansas guards. And once that ball was committed by Paulino to drive into the lane, Jackson had plenty of time to hold his ground.
Scott Thornley pointed, but we didn't see the hand behind the head. Now Paulino with 2 fouls has been taken out of the ball game, and P.J. Tucker will check back in for Texas.
Jackson already, Ron, looking like a guy that's going to enjoy a whirlpool later.
Robinson. Rush not there. Buckman came down with it.
Well, Rush has got to stay aggressive. He passed up an open shot and took a contested one.
Lawrence Jackson. That ball deflected by C.J. Giles. And on the follow, not there. Buckman will go to the line for a pair.
And Brad Buckman only one field goal so far in this tournament. Banged up, but certainly Rick Barnes knows the value of Buckman to this program.
Gets the first one. Holly Rowe, let's check in with you.
Well, guys, it has been a rough tournament for Brad Buckman. Just 5 points in 2 games and limited minutes. Some of the people think that he might be thinking too much. It's his senior year. He wants to go out with a championship. He might be letting that affect him. Some of his teammates, LaMarcus Aldridge and P.J. Tucker, went to him yesterday and said, look, just be the Brad that we know and that makes this team go. He was the MVP in that first game against Kansas with 12.6 rebounds. They need him to do all the little things that makes them so good. They just want him to get back to the Brad they know.
Thanks, Holly. You know, if you check the numbers by Texas, as Robinson puts up a 3 and Buckman rebounds, 2 of the losses he did not play in. 3 of the losses he had very, very poor games. And that's what his teammates are trying to tell him, that he is most valuable as far as this team is concerned. Bounce pass, great no-look, scored for Robinson, and a foul called on Aldridge.
And set up by the guy who has been outstanding versus the zone today, Julian Wright. LaMarcus Aldridge would have to have eyes in back of his head to see this pass coming and to see Russell Robinson sneak behind him. And that's 2 fouls, Ron.
2 fouls on Aldridge. Trying to tie up the ball game, and he does.
What's so much different about this Kansas team than the Kansas team that went to Austin has been the aggressiveness in attacking the front line of Texas, which you have to do.
Kansas faithful coming to their feet. Tied at 29. We've just gone under 5 minutes to play in his opening half. Gibson falls down, slipped right in the paint. Giles is going to be called for the foul.
Well, Gibson gets into the lane here, and just a little body by Giles. Probably a little perspiration as well on the floor, and Gibson went flying.
Yeah, because it didn't look like he hit him that hard, did it?
Nope.
Way outside is Gibson. That one's off the mark.
Now, Bill Self doesn't mind that, although Gibson can heat up. We know that.
Rick Barnes did mind it.
Yes, yes.
The reaction to the 2 coaches, 180 degrees.
Tells you something about maybe a little frustration by Gibson to get a shot off.
Quick pass inside, knocked away. Tucker takes it away, goes on the floor. Robinson is there, and he gets it back to Rush.
Well, you're going to see those kind of hustle plays all day long. Look at that pass.
Right. Skip pass to Robinson. Chalmers takes it away, and he scores.
The ball movement has been outstanding.
6 for Chalmers.
The last 2/3 of the season, this is how Kansas has played.
Chalmers got it. Got the steal. Fouled by Abrams. He'll shoot 2. Right now, Old Mo wearing blue and crimson. Look at the hustle on the part of the Jayhawks. 32-29. We'll be right back. Actually, that game down in Texas was won by 25 points. But you look at the impetus right now and what has caused this emotion-driven shift. 8 turnovers against Texas, 4 by steals. So they have really taken it to the #1 seeds in the first 17 minutes of this half.
And Texas, Ron, on the other hand, because they play that 2-3 zone, they really don't have a chance to turn you over very much.
Tucker Ball was blocked by Giles, and then on a follow, got it to go.
That shows you P.J. Tucker. That embodies his tenacity right there. Took it at the front line, got it blocked, and used that 7-foot wingspan to shoot back over the two big guys. Keep your eye on Julian Wright. He's been brilliant in that zone today.
Short jumper right here. Nobody was there with him, and the ball tipped by Giles, and it went right back to Texas. Under 3 minutes to play. 2-point Jayhawk lead. Tucker.
What they've done 2 times in a row now, they've run a screen and roll play as Tucker has 9 to clear him and get him one-on-one.
We're back after a 30-second break. 2:35 left until halftime, but we're tied at 33. P.J. Tucker, the last 2 hoops for the Longhorns.
Well, this one gets blocked, but he stays with it, and he's not going to get this shot blocked the second time. Look how he elevates over. But what they've done is on the side pick and roll, they've created a little bit of a running start for him because Rush has to help on Paulino because Paulino can shoot it. Well done by Rick Barnes.
Paulino with 9, also Tucker with 9. 7 and 7 for Chalmers and Kahn for KU.
Great pass, Ron.
Kahn from Wright. And I mean, Wright was at point-blank range. Actually could have shot it himself, but very unselfish. Dumped it off to him, and it puts the Jayhawks back on top by a couple.
He has subtly dominated the offensive end for Kansas today with his passing.
Mike Williams back out to Gibson. Gibson 5 points early. Buckman for 3. Not there. Taken down by Rush.
Well, Buckman has been in a huge shooting slump from 3. He's now about 30%. I would just kick it back out, make sure Julian Wright gets to the middle of the lane, and that's where the ball needs to go.
That's where they go to him on the high, and he'll take that jumper from 15 feet. Inside, Russell Robinson hustling one of the shorter guys on the floor. Right with the jam.
Wow. Remember this, he had 18 points versus Texas the first time. He's dominated with his passing today, but that was pretty good as well. Well, Julian Wright in the middle of that zone has been outstanding. Take a look at this dump off. And then the drive, the kick, another great look inside to Kahn, and the finish. Rush pays him back with the easy 2.
So Kansas 13 assists on 14 field goals, Wright with 4 of those. Talk about playing some really good team basketball. That's the reason they're on top. Join host Trey Wingo and analyst Stacey Dale Schumann along with Carol Lawson for the exclusive announcement and breakdown of the field of the 64 for this year's NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. The NCAA Women's Basketball Selection Special on ESPN tomorrow at 7 Eastern.
I know we're both looking forward to that Tucson regional, Ron, next Friday.
Heading out to Tucson. 4 games on Saturday, 2 on Monday. .110 on the clock. 24 on the shot clock. Texas down by 4. They certainly, I would think, need to pick up some points here rather than that much more momentum going in at halftime for KU, already up by 4.
Well, when they get down the late shot clock, they've given the ball to Tucker.
Gibson for 3. That's off the no. He kissed it off the glass. Oh, my. Banks are closed on Sunday, aren't they?
Well, we had the angle. You're about to say off the mark.
It was off the mark.
It was off the mark. But on the mark as well. 8 points for Gibson.
Rush dishes off to Wright. Wright not there and taken down. It's Kahn over the back. The reason for the whistle. And that's the 7th team foul against the Jayhawks. 2 fouls on Kahn.
Everything went right for Kansas on that sequence except the missed layup inside, and that caused the second foul.
Aldridge on the bench and has had to be there a goodly part of the first half. We'll get the exact minutes as we get the halftime stats because of 2 fouls. But that same thing happened to him in yesterday's contest as well.
Well, you look at P.J. Tucker's stat line, and don't be alarmed if you're a Longhorn fan, because he is heading towards another double-double.
He's also got 2 assists. But Rush and Wright both with 4 assists for the Kansas Jayhawks. As you take a look at Tucker's parents.
Last possession, Ron. Kansas must get it down to the wire.
Chalmers walks it up. 1 point, Texas lead. Rush in the corner. 3-pointer, not there. Taken down by Giles. Back out to Chalmers. Doesn't get it. Points off turnovers as you see Giles limping heavily. Kansas 16-0 on points off turnovers. Holly Road, let's check with you.
I'm here with Coach Bill Self. Coach, what's been the biggest difference in your team from the last meeting?
Well, we're making shots better. We're playing a lot tougher, but PJ's controlled the first half for them. We got to do a better job on him.
How do you like, though, the aggressive nature of your team?
We're playing better. We're a lot more aggressive than we were the first time we played him, but still, yeah, we're not guarding like we can.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Okay, Holly, thanks so much. Our score at halftime, Texas 38, Kansas 37. Now let's join Dave Repson with the 7-Up halftime report. Dave? Score as we open the second half, 38-37, the Texas Longhorns. And to show you the great quality of basketball that we saw in the first 20 minutes, we've had 27 baskets scored in this game. There have been 23 assists. This second 20 minutes, can it keep up with the high profile the first was?
Oh, I think so, because you have so many talented, skilled players on the court. I don't think there's any doubt. Defense will ratchet up a little bit, but there's some good players out here, Ron.
Let's take a look at the highlights of that first half, and 2 gentlemen really stuck out.
Well, P.J. Tucker continues a great tournament run so far. He has been the anchor inside for Rick Barnes, but because of his versatility, he also gets his teammates involved. And speaking of versatility, you're looking at a guy that might be a young Magic Johnson because of the way he does the things he does at 6'8". Very unselfish, but also can score.
Here are the stats in that first half, 43 and 42%. Rebounds, an edge of 8 for the Longhorns, but look at points off turnover.
Well, nothing surprising here. Kansas generates its offense because of the pressure put on you by those guards. Little zone now, once again. At some point, Julian Wright will flow into the middle.
Chalmers off to Wright, had it taken away by Buckman, and Sasha Khan rolled up on the back of P.J. Tucker's leg, and he is still down underneath the basket.
Looks like he's okay now. Looked like he did a split, Ron.
Tucker looking inside the double team, knocked away by Wright. Chalmers for 3.
2 words: supreme confidence on the part of this freshman from Anchorage, Alaska.
Well, he is now in double figures with 10.
Both he and Robinson on the Big 12 all-defensive team, but Chalmers can score points.
This is the 5th lead change in the ball game. Buckman out in the corner. Bounce pass going to be taken away by Wright, and another turnover against the Longhorns.
I don't understand why Aldridge kicked it back out to Buckman instead of playing one-on-one.
And meanwhile, another 3-pointer on the part of Chalmers, and Rick Barnes needs a timeout, he says.
36% on the season, but great confidence. Mario Chalmers has given Kansas a huge lift. 2 big threes to start the second half. Kansas by 5.
43-38. Talking to Rick Barnes of Texas at halftime, he said he was frustrated with the turnovers. 16 points off of turnovers in the first half, and it hasn't gotten better here in the second half. Now the Jayhawks with 22 points off of turnovers. He said they've also got to eliminate the Kansas high-low action. He said they're dribbling, getting penetration on the baseline, and then kicking it out to the high guy. That's got to stop, guys.
All righty. Buckman with the three-point attempt. Not there. Aldridge tips it back out. Inside Tucker.
I love Brad Buckman, but I don't think Rick Barnes in this type of game wants him shooting a lot of threes. That ball needs to go to Tucker down low so Aldridge and Buckman can clean up the boards.
Foul was on Rush, his first. And that's the first team foul here in the second half against KU. Tucker misses the second one. Ball tipped back to Tucker. Gotten by Aldridge, and he was fouled. Is it Chalmers or is it Wright? Whoa, that may be on Robinson.
At the line, Marcus Aldridge, shooting 2.
We still don't have an announcement of who it was. If it's Robinson, that's 2 fouls, and that's the one person that kind of halfway messes up their rotation, friend. It is on Robinson. Now they've changed it, or we have just been told it's not 3, it was 30. Right.
Well, the key to that whole sequence was LaMarcus Aldridge keeping that ball alive on the offensive glass. That's critical for Texas in the second half.
Rush back out to Robinson. 15-footer, nice touch, couldn't get it to go. Right in the follow.
That's unbelievable. I can't believe where Julian Wright came from on that play. Wait till you see the replay.
Tucker, Wright works against him. Tries to get the jumper off, and I think Wright just picked up his second foul.
Watch Julian Wright right here come out of nowhere and get this rebound. And then keep it alive, and then the putback. He has dominated the offensive end for Kansas without scoring a lot of points.
Buckman on the rebound. And the follow.
Now that's the Brad Buckman that Rick Barnes expects night in and night out.
Rush, left hand, not there. Tucker rebounds, had his pocket picked by Kahn, and it's blocked by Buckman.
No surprise, 4th leading shot blocker in Texas history.
Kahn picks up the foul. That's 3 on Kahn.
Now Brad Buckman, Rick Barnes talks about him, as his teammates do, as the heart and soul of this Texas basketball team. First the putback and then the block shot. You can tell Rick Barnes had a talk with LaMarcus Aldridge at halftime, Ron, because he's posted up much stronger than he did in the first half.
Tucker got it off to Aldridge. Gibson for 3. That's going to be well short, an air ball. Three-pointer, no. Buckman rebound. Foul on Buckman, his second.
Team first.
Now keep your eye right now on Texas trapping if this ball goes to the corner.
Quick pass in the middle, right. High arcing shot, and he got it. And I just noticed on the tote board they have changed. Wright does not have 2. They took that foul, they gave it to Rush a bit ago. So Wright only 1 foul.
Well, how about Wright in the middle of that zone? Rick Barnes needs an answer for him.
Gibson, little flat on the shot. Going to be taken away by Chalmers of Kansas.
No timidity in this Kansas team, different than 2 weeks ago.
Gibson caused the turnover, and Buckman is going to be fouled by Chalmers. And that is 2 fouls on him. So we'll take a timeout. Wright doing a little bit of everything. We'll be right back.
What is it about college sports that you love so much?
You know, I'm a college sports nut. If there's a Texas team in a playoff, I'm there. I'm calling our coaches, Mac Brown or Kim Mulkey Robertson or Jody Conrad or Rick Barnes, whoever's in there, I'm calling them. I'm rooting for him. Wayne Graham with Rice. I just think it's so exciting to have college sports. It's such a great spirit builder for our state.
Well, you can certainly sense that with the Texas fans this year. Thank you for your time.
We're so excited about the Rose Bowl, the game of the century.
You're right. Well, thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Holly.
Holly, thanks very much. During the interview there, Tucker picked up his 2nd foul, and Aldridge has just gotten his 3rd foul.
Ironically, he picked that foul up because Rick Barnes has gone man-to-man in a way to slow down this Kansas offense. Now, they played a lot of man in Austin and did it well.
Rush out of the corner. Well, that thing did everything but go down. Very unlucky on the shot. 4-point lead, Kansas. About to go under 15 minutes to play. Paulino.
Well, the silent leader of this team, Kenton Paulino, now a senior, one of the veterans, and has had a great senior year.
12 points for him. Giles against Aldridge, way too far. Buckman's going to come down with the carry.
If you're going to attack Texas on the interior, you must go to the rim and not shoot fadeaways.
No shooting foul. Foul was on the floor. Ron Franklin, along with Fran Fraschilla and Holly Rowe, coming to you from the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. It's the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship. Chalmers just picked up his 3rd foul. Wow. We got some big-name players early in the second half. I say early, we're just over 5 minutes into it. But some guys that are very important to their teams already having collected 3 fouls. Chalmers for Kansas and Aldridge for the Texas Longhorns.
Rick Barnes has left Aldridge out here, and with this lineup, Ron, Mike Williams in the game, P.J. Tucker will not get a lot of post touches. P.J. needs to play inside.
Paulino guarded by Hawkins. Gibson retrieves that ball, almost stolen. Tucker, penetration, had the ball blocked, and then gets sent into the cheerleader section. 7 seconds on the shot clock.
Well, we've seen PJ's ability to take you off the dribble, but his strength offensively is scoring on the post-up. That time very fortunate.
Timeout called, unable to get the ball in.
Now take a look at this, Ron, as we talk about seeding. Now, Kansas, not a lot of people have them as a 4 seed, but if you've watched them since December like we have, they're 21-3 since the loss to St. Joe's, and in my mind, they're one of the best 16 teams in the country. And by the way, they're playing like it today. Texas, I think, will stay on that 2 line, and A&M will be a tough customer if they get by that first-round game for a top seed.
14:08 left to play in this championship game. 1-point lead, Kansas. Five seconds on the shot clock, down to 4. Paulino rushes the shot, got it. 15 points for Kenton Paulino.
This is a young guy that averaged 1 point a game as a freshman. Thought he wouldn't play much here.
Stolen by Tucker. Paulino a minute ago. That is the first second chance points of the ball game for the Texas Longhorns.
Texas now back in the zone, so you must find Julian Wright in the middle.
Hawkins.
But that's okay, too. The senior from Kansas City has made some big threes for the Jayhawks this season. Well, Rick Barnes doesn't like the fact that there was some action on the baseline.
Interesting that a second official didn't step in.
There was a baseline screen set. Watch C.J. Giles now. Oh, yeah. Yep. See, I just think they didn't see it. That has to be a foul call right there.
Giles skip pass. Robinson.
9 of 16 from behind the arc. In Austin, when they were blown out, they only made 4 3-point shots. Kansas has done a good job of keeping Texas on the perimeter because of the ball pressure.
Buckman with a short jumper, and he got it. Gibson with the foul. That's the first one on him.
This pick and roll has been very effective tonight because you must help. Watch when Buckman sets the screen. His man helps. Back. No one rotates out. Quick jumper.
Tied at 53. Rush.
Well, Bill Self will love that aggressiveness. Brandon Rush only 1 field goal in Austin.
He's got 8 points this afternoon, 3 of 11, but he's 2 of 5 from beyond the arc. In fact, the first 2 that he put up today. Under 12 minutes to play. Aldridge reverses the turnaround. Can't get it. 1 and out on this trip. Jackson grabbed the rebound. Aldridge just picked up his 4th.
One of the reasons you get in foul trouble in the low post is because you don't do your work early. Giles was able to establish position before Aldridge could get in front of him.
So you take one more look at it. This telecast is available on ESPN HD, presented by Dish Network.
Keep your eye on C.J. Giles right here. One thing we've seen in this tournament is how hard he runs the court. Now, the ball is rebounded. Watch him take off. He beats Aldridge up the court. You can't see Giles because he's out of your picture, and he does his work early, and that forces Aldridge to fight around him. And Curtis Shaw on top of the play makes the call, and Aldridge must sit.
Item for Texas, number 5.
Mike Williams comes into the lineup, replacing Aldridge. Alley-oop.
I'm not sure with this lineup. If I were Rick Barnes, I wouldn't go 3 guards now to put Tucker inside.
Williams, the bounce pass inside to Buckman, and he scores it.
Well, good coaching out of a timeout. They ran that little high-low offense, and Buckman sealed inside.
A.J. Abrams, the freshman, into the ball game. He's working outside against Robinson. Jump hook, not there. Taken down by Williams.
That was a nice job of Brad Buckman holding his ground. Didn't give much to Jackson.
Tucker, a little out of control, lost the ball. Pick and roll there. C.J. Giles couldn't get it.
Well, with this team on the floor, Rush is the guy you really want to go to. Giles is more of an energy guy and not a go-to scorer.
Gibson, quick Quickly inside to Buckman. Buckman with the jump hook. The senior looks as though he has decided maybe to put part of this team on his back.
Very important. A guy that's only had one field goal first 2 games.
Now in double figures. Buckman with 10. Back outside to Hawkins. Quick release, and he got another 3.
Shot clock was at 33. He's feeling it. Senior knocks it down. Buckman and Hawkins, 2 veterans.
6 ties, 9 lead changes in this ball game so far.
Texas, Ron, has handled the ball much better after those opening flurries in the second half. Consequently, half-court offense has improved.
Bounce pass inside to Tucker. Tucker fights for it, and a timeout is called by Texas. They only have 1 timeout left, I think, with 9:27 left.
A great job of a set play right here. And you see that time, Buckman does his work early and seals Giles. And then they go to him again. And with that 7-foot wingspan, hits the jump hook. A big lift for Rick Barnes.
And let's check in for more on Buckman from Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, we've been talking about it all week, that Buckman is the barometer for this Texas team. How he goes, they go. He was scoreless in the first half, but he's come to life. 10 points in the second half. And, guys, you can see he's just decided that he's going to battle inside. He got some key rebounds and had a good stat line in the first half, but now when they need his points with LaMarcus Aldridge on the bench, he is answering that call.
And we understand that the officials are checking the shot clock on the last possession.
Well, they throw the ball inside. It gets deflected. Tucker calls timeout, so they reset it, Ron, and that was the mistake. You see how the clock reset? It shouldn't have.
Should have been at like, what, 14 or 13 seconds.
Yeah. Now, what can happen here is if they think that Rush had possession, then you would reset it. But it didn't look like from this angle that Texas ever lost possession of the basketball.
So the shot clock is at 13. Gibson, quick release on a 3. Not there. Buckman tips it. Williams tips it on the floor. Williams on it, and he gets it back outside to Abrams.
Well, credit Brad Buckman. He kept that possession alive.
Kansas with a 1-point lead, 58-57. About to go under 9 minutes to play in this championship game. Tucker, short on the jumper, right-handed, and pushed it back over to Hawkins. And I think Brad Buckman just picked up his 3rd foul.
Now, one thing we've seen Kansas post people do today is really do a good job of establishing position. And if Buckman hadn't fouled Kahn, that was an easy 2 points. Lob. Tried to run a lob play, didn't get it. Good recognition by the Longhorns.
Rush set to shoot, not there, but it's a long rebound, and Hawkins comes and picks it up with a fresh 35 by KU.
Good point, Ron. Long rebounds usually go to the guards.
Rush going to put this one on the floor and has it taken away by Williams, who hands it off to A.J. Abrams.
Well, Mike Williams has done a nice job of doing dirty work for Rick Barnes. He has been invisible for much of the season.
You know, you get down to it, though, friend. This is a championship game, and I don't care what year you are. Everybody's got to pick up some slack if you're going to win.
Well, that's where P.J. Tucker is at his best.
That's 4 on Kahn now. Aldridge already on the bench with 4.
They've done this today. They run the little side pick and roll, and that gives Tucker the running start to the basket. Kansas has not adjusted well to this. Kahn should be rotating earlier, and that's why he picked up the foul.
Kahn looking anxiously up at the clock because he knows he's going to have to go to the bench. We are at the 8-minute mark. In foul trouble, Kahn with 4, Chalmers, he's in the ballgame with 3, Rush with 2. And for Texas, Aldridge on the bench with 4, Buckman with 3, Tucker with 2. Points for Tucker. Paulino was coming into the ball game, and he's asking Rick Barnes, who am I replacing? Tucker will go to the bench, get a breather. Texas now by 1.
Smart move here, Ron, because the next dead ball will be a TV timeout. So Tucker will get very little missed running time and still get a blow.
Chalmers takes it all the way to the hoop, and from behind, Gibson knocked the ball away. No shot. So a timeout. 7:47 left in the ball game. 59-58, Texas by 1. We'll be right back. Alrighty, our situation. 7:47 left. 59-58, Texas. Keep one thing in mind, and you have to wonder how much that the coaching staff has reiterated this over on the bench. Texas only has 1 timeout left in this ball game. So if somebody comes in a close tie situation, don't call the timeout, because the tie ball or held ball is in the favor of the Longhorns.
That would be good basketball IQ if you're Texas right now.
Right, left all alone, but he missed it. Kansas, by the way, has 4 timeouts remaining in the ball game.
A really solid set play off of that Kansas timeout. Wright just didn't knock it down.
Paulino tried to throw a pass, had it blocked, came over to Chalmers, and at the other end.
Well, that entire sequence was set up because Buckman leveled Chalmers. There was a mismatch. Paulino drove, turned it over.
Gibson picked up his 2nd foul there. And let's check in quickly with Holly Rowe. Holly?
Guys, Bill Self just told his team in the huddle, 8 minutes to a championship. He repeated it several times, yelled at him, I know you're tired, but it's 8 minutes to a championship. He wants them to hang on. He also wants them to do a better job switching on defense. Whoever's got P.J. Tucker, he feels like he's getting lost in the shuffle. He's been able to hurt them, penetrate, and get to the line. He wants better communication, switching on defense.
Okay, Holly, thanks. Great hustle. You know, Bill said at the end of the first half also in that interview with Holly, he said he thought they were losing P.J. then, that he was getting too many open situations.
Well, Kansas has the type of size on the perimeter where you can really switch out as much as possible.
Tucker prepares to check back into the ball game, and Aldridge also is going to come in with 4 fouls. That's the 2nd foul on Wright. We'll join host Trey Wingo and analyst Stacey Dale Schumann and Carol Lawson. The exclusive announcement and breakdown of the field of 64 for this year's NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. The NCAA Women's Basketball Selection Special on ESPN tomorrow, and that begins at 7 Eastern Time, 6 Central.
You know, this young man shoots about 86%. Kenton Paulino called him this week. A.J. Abrams, he said, he's my little brother, Ron. He said, I'm going to take care of him, get him through his freshman year. And you know what? A.J. Abrams has taken care of Rick Barnes and the Longhorns. He has been solid in this tournament.
Boy, he matured quickly, didn't he? Even before the tournament with some big ball games. Hawkins pulls up for 3. He's got another one.
Jeff Hawkins has done this before. I remember a game a couple years ago against TCU. Out of nowhere, he went 5 for 7. He's done it numerous times.
So KU back to a 2-point lead. Tucker almost lost it. Quick hands on the floor. Paulino. Chalmers will pick up foul number 4. Well, one of the things that officials have cracked down on more, and that is crashing underneath the person when you're going for a loose ball.
Very true. It's called advantage, disadvantage. You can hustle after the ball, but you can't knock an opponent down in going after it. So Tucker's going to get a piece of it. Paulino's going to go reach for the ball. but Chalmers is going to put Paulino at a disadvantage by hustling. That's a big play, too, because that's a 4th foul. And inadvertent because of good hustle by the freshman.
Yeah, that goes back to the thing we talked about so many times this season when it seems harsh to penalize somebody for hustle. That's exactly what it is. But that is something we've seen them. They have cracked down on, I think, much more this year than in previous years. Paulino, second one on the way. And we are tied again. Folks, we have been treated to a magnificent basketball game here this afternoon. And it's a shame, and somebody's going to have to lose this thing. These two teams have fought each other tooth and nail.
Well, co-champions of the Big 12. I really believe if LaMarcus Aldridge stays, these two teams could be #1 and #2 in the country next year. Yep. North Carolina, Ohio State would be pretty good, but there's so much young talent on the floor here, Ron.
Ball tipped away by Abrams, but Kansas saved it. Hawkins deep in the corner. The 3 not there. C.J. Giles gets it back. Rush fouled by Tucker.
Now, Rush, that's where Tucker better be careful because Curtis Shaw stared him down. This all came off a head fake. This is great hustle by C.J. Giles. Now watch Russ. Head fake, puts it on the floor, and then that's very close to being a technical foul. Curtis Shaw, as you know, will not tolerate that.
3 fouls on Tucker. And the numbers on Rush as he goes to the free throw line. You saw on the screen there, he hit his first 2 shots of the day. They were both 3-pointers, and since then, 1 of 10 from the field. And I asked you during the timeout, I'm not being facetious. Bill has continued to push him as far as be confident in your shot. Would you tell him to continue to shoot?
Absolutely, as long as they're good shots within the flow of the offense. Remember, he's first team all-league, the first Jayhawk ever as a freshman to accomplish that.
A.J. Abrams, a reach in by Wright. He gets the steal and jams it home.
Somehow defensive pressure would play a factor in this game. Wright's long reach poked it away.
Four-point Kansas lead.
Texas has taken care of the ball for most of the second half.
Paulino on the runner. Not there. Touch last by Texas. It's going to be KU basketball.
Well, watch Julian Wright. Just the poke away. No contact, and then the finish. Again.
To go under 5 minutes left to play in our championship game. Kansas with a 4-point lead. C.J. Giles.
Don't want him shooting jumpers. Right now with this lineup, get Wright going or guards getting to the rim off the dribble.
Shot clock is at 6. Rush, little crossover. This one on the way, very short. Taken by Gibson, and he hands it off to Paulino.
Now that was a bad possession by the Jayhawks. I still think with this lineup, Ron, you have to figure a way to get P.J. Tucker inside. Here it comes.
Last field goal by Texas was just over 10 minutes on the clock. Six seconds on the shot clock, and he is stripped.
He did it again.
Robinson for 3.
That's the confidence this Jayhawk team has played with down the stretch of the Big 12. The sophomore from New York.
Largest lead of the afternoon. 7-point bulge with 3 minutes and 48 seconds to play.
Robinson hit his hard as to say, that's what it's going to be all about down the stretch.
Gibson, the runner. Tip. Buckman, no good. Aldridge on the follow. Couldn't get it to go, and taken down by Rush of KU.
I'm not sure Kansas would have got those rebounds in Austin on February 26th. A much different, more mature Kansas team. They need these situations, pick and roll.
Robinson for three again. Right over the back. So as we go to break, Wright knocks the ball away, and KU with two more. 70-63 they lead. So we are back in Dallas. 3 minutes and 14 seconds left. 70-63 Kansas with the largest lead of the afternoon of the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championships. And of course, today is the day. Largest lead of the afternoon for the Kansas Jayhawks as Buckman goes to the line and tries to cut in to the 7-point margin. And he misses the first.
Well, Texas shot 55% down in Austin. We talked about Kansas's pressure on the ball, the #1 field goal defensive team in the country, and the turnovers have been critical for Texas.
Buckman missed them both. Tipped up by Aldridge and taken down by C.J. Giles. And Bill Self is now up with palms down, saying, fellas, we got a 7-point lead. Let's be deliberate on offense.
That's right. The clock becomes your friend, but you still must look to score.
This is a 10-2 run by Kansas.
Julian Wright is so important because he's a point power forward right now.
Aldridge way outside working against Chalmers. Both of those guys with 4 fouls. And inside, Rush lost the basketball out of bounds. It'll go back to Texas with 2:43 remaining.
Well, Chalmers had the mismatch on the big guy. Couldn't connect.
Texas, no field goals the last 7.5 minutes.
And I really believe, Ron, part of the problem is with a big lineup, it's hard to go inside to Tucker. That time Aldridge established great position, but he only has 4 points today on 1 of 5 field goals.
C.J. Giles picked up the foul.
And you know, Ron, as much as this young man has enormous talent, LaMarcus Aldridge, and he would be a top 5 pick, boy, I think in some ways he should stay another season.
This is the second, so Texas missing 3 of 4 free throws here coming down the stretch. And they're down by 6.
Now you want to milk at least 25 seconds off the clock if you can. If you're Texas, you might want to start the trap and speed the game up.
And Bill Self wants to call a timeout with 20 seconds showing on the shot clock. And his ball club with a 6-point lead.
Well, when you've saved your timeouts like Bill Self has, as you see the difference between the game on the 25th, the key is 3-point shooting. Kansas only 4 of 15, and today they've knocked down 12 of 24.
They got 5 guys in double figures. Hawkins with 12, 11 for Robinson, Chalmers with 13, and Rush and Wright with 10 points apiece. Texas led by Paulina with 17 points, 16 for Tucker, and 10 for Buckman. Let's take a look at Julian Wright and the effect that he's had on this ball game, and it's been huge.
Well, only 10 points, but 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and he has subtly dominated the game on the offensive glass, and then a couple of crucial steals in the second half that have opened up this scoring margin.
And I'm not sure a lot of people realize how much talent it takes to become a really good post passer, and he has.
Very good point. A lot of that is innate. Part of it is just how you grow up learning the game.
Aldridge way outside, and Robinson got knocked down. And that could have been one of 3 people, so we'll see as they go to the scorers table. Looks as though it's going to be Gibson. It will be his 3rd.
Now, Ron, Bill Self has 3 timeouts left. So after this possession, with a young basketball team, he could coach the team and play point guard from the sidelines because he can set up a play 3 more times.
Well, the reset shows you timeouts. KU with 4, Texas with 1. Team fouls 10 plus. double bonus against KU, and 19 fouls against Texas, so 1-1 there.
Well, the scoreboard, that should be 3 timeouts because you lose one from the first half. That's the first one called in the second half.
Gibson off the mark with that long three-pointer. Aldridge couldn't come down with it, and now the clock becomes a huge ally of KU.
If you don't get what you want, Bill Self can use the timeout to run a play. Right now he's milking clock. Wouldn't surprise me if he takes another one, Ron.
Rush, 15-footer, got it. And a minute and a half left to go in the ballgame. KU with a 9-point lead.
Excellent execution, took time off the clock. Now you have to play fast if you're Texas.
Paulino, crossover out on the wing to Buckman. That's off the mark. And touch last by Gibson. KU basketball. They'll start celebrating on the KU side with a 9-point bulge and 1:09 to play.
8 top scorers are freshmen and sophomores for KU. Bill Self has brought this team a long way since December 6th in the loss to St. Joe's in New York.
Texas, 9 minutes and 6 seconds without a field goal.
Now, if you think about that, Ron, how many touches has P.J. Tucker had in the last 9 minutes of this game? The player of the year in the Big 12.
Daniel Gibson picked up his 4th foul. And you could see his head coach standing right there by him saying, don't do that.
Well, right now, the basketball committee is meeting and watching this game, and they may have already decided the seeds. But you and I have seen Kansas enough to know that they have become one of the best 16 teams in the country.
Let me send a message to America, whether it's Kansas, Texas, Texas A&M. Hang on if you got to play them, Oklahoma as well.
Well, they said this was a down year in the Big 12, but it's also one of the youngest conferences in the country.
A lot of folks have grown up in the last 2 months. Tucker dishes to Buckman, he'll jam it home.
Last Texas timeout, Ron.
Last one that they have, and it comes at the 60-second mark. Well, the Texas drought, 9 minutes and 15 seconds. ESPNU Bracketology presented by Staples, and that's coming up next here on ESPN. What do you change this basketball game this afternoon? To and fro all the way, and then with about 5.5 minutes left, all of a sudden, the guys in blue just took it over.
Well, 2 things come to mind. P.J. Tucker only had 4 field goal attempts in the second half. That's one thing. He is their go-to guy. They didn't go to him enough. Outstanding Kansas defense. The steals got them going in the open court, and then they made 12 of 24 threes, which you really can't count on, and especially since in the first game in Austin, they were only 4 of 15 behind the arc.
So a setback for the Longhorns today as it appears they're going to lose this Big 12 championship. However, when you look at the momentum actually they had coming into this tournament, but look at the momentum that KU has. Look at the momentum that Billy Gillespie and the Texas Aggies have. And we all know that Oklahoma can be a very, very tough competitive ball club. I'm not going to be disappointed. I can tell you ahead of time what happens with Big 12 teams. I think that they will represent this conference extremely well.
Well, I think you're right. And you have to think back. You know, it seems like 2 seasons ago when everybody who was a Jayhawk fan back in December was worried about the growth and maturity of this team. And it's kind of fitting that Brad Buckman files Jeff Hawkins, the 2 seniors, both with Final Four experience. If I were LaMarcus Aldridge, I know there's a lot of money on the table. I would come back next season. When you look at DJ Augustin in the backcourt with Gibson, Kevin Durant up front with Tucker and Aldridge, that will be the #1 team in the country if he returns.
They're double checking to see if too much time came off the clock.
Bad basketball team back in November when they lost to Nevada and Nick Fazekas at home. They had no flow, no roll identification, just a lot of talent.
Well, they were trying to send Buckman to the bench, and the scorekeeper said, wait a minute, he's only got 4 fouls. So let the kid back on the floor. 59.2 seconds officially on the clock. And Kansas with a 9-point lead. Hawkins makes it 10. By the way, to all the good folks up in Lawrence, Kansas, I hope that you were out of harm's way last night. Quite a storm hit that area up there, and I understand that sometime this morning about 12,000 homes were without electricity. But I have a feeling that as much as they love this basketball team, as much as they love basketball as a whole, that everybody found a place to watch the game somehow or listen to Bob Davis and Max. Three-point attempt. Not there, and Gibson reaches in and fouls. And it's 5 fouls on Gibson.
Well, if you're Rick Barnes, you got to use this loss to refocus your team like he did back in December when they lost to Duke in Tennessee and then went on a great run.
So the bottom line on Gibson today, 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists.
Gibson, another young man that people have talked about him coming out early, and we've seen enough basketball around this league now to know that he would certainly benefit from coming back next year as well.
Second one is up, and it's there, 78-66. Gibson on the bench. Painful right now, but this ball club, as Hawkins goes out to a standing ovation. One senior who does get a lot of playing time on this Jayhawk team. Paulino, the ball is blocked by Chalmers. Gets it off to right, and showtime coming here.
How fitting was it that that play started with a steal and the block? That's been Kansas's MO in this 22-3 run over the course of the last 2 months.
Paulino will score it.
Well, no more points. Bill Self got pretty smart the last 2 months.
That's an expression that is used, and exactly what Fran is saying is a lot of times the news media and fans think they know a lot more than they know, but the bottom line is right here. Kansas in jubilation because they are wrapping up the Big 12 Conference Tournament Championship from the American Airlines Center in Dallas by a 12-point margin. Let's go to Holly Roll with head coach Bill Self. Holly?
Coach, how did you describe the journey you went on from where this team was in December to winning this championship?
We were just young. We've got good talent, and the guys are playing to their talent level, and they play with a lot of confidence. And tonight our bench was great, and we made shots, and that always helped.
You guys lost to Texas by 25 not long ago. What was different for your team?
We played timid. We hadn't been in that atmosphere in our guys' minds, so we needed to go through that so we can win today's game.
You went nearly 10 minutes in the second half without allowing a field goal. What was so good about your defense?
I didn't realize it was better, to be honest with you. I thought our defense was just average, but they're so quick and put so much pressure on you. We were fortunate Aldridge got in foul trouble, but that was a big key when LaMarcus went out of the game.
All right, you said 8 minutes till a championship, but they listened.
We got it. Thanks.
Congratulations. We've got Julian right here, guys. If you'll hang with me. Julian, you had to earn your playing time this year. You started midway through the season. How did you do it?
Oh, well, it just takes a lot of time in practice, day and day. You know, getting beat up by these guys, big guys. Just trying to get better day by day, and it's starting to pay off.
All right, well, paid off with the championship. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So the final score, Kansas wins it 80-68. Up next at ESPN2, ESPNU Bracketology, presented by Staples. I'm Ron Franklin for Fran Fraschilla and Holly Rowe and our entire crew. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Kansas, 32 points off turnovers, 10 steals by KU players, and 5 individuals in double figures. So long, everybody, from Dallas, Texas.